Pete Yost here for the Unbuild It podcast with a word about our sponsor, Huber Engineered Woods. There are really three reasons why I think Huber Engineered Woods stands out, and it's a big part of why they're a sponsor of our Unbuild It podcast. First, they develop systems of products. The products are compatible and integrated. Makes our jobs a lot more easy in the field and when specifying. Second is superior tech support. There are really good website resources that they have developed for the application of their products, but they also have an outstanding 800 numbered tech team that really knows their stuff. And the last is a really active technical research and development team with whom I've done a lot of work over the years, and I have a lot of faith in the information I get from them when I have questions about product performance. So that's it. That's our high performance sponsor. Now on to the podcast.
Good morning, everybody. Let's just say if you had a hard time making it here, raise your hand real quick, just so that everybody can get that off their chest.
Are you talking Huber booth or to Vegas?
To Vegas.
Oh.
Yeah, hopefully you didn't have a hard time finding the booth
I thought you
here.
meant to 67 years old.
Peter has a hard time making it anywhere. Just
For those of you that don't know us, we're going to introduce ourselves, and we'll let age go first.
Peter Yost, I have a company called Building Right,
talk into the mic.
and I've been putting up with Steve for 22 years.
Steve, would you like to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, Steve Bazek, architect. I haven't seen any of those videos. But yeah, friends with Peter Yost for probably longer than he can count these days. And good friends with Jake Bruton. We just do a lot of buildings together, and we're here with our Huber family.
Chris, I'm going to let you go next.
Thank you, sir. Chris Vegas. I'm the technology director for innovation here at Huber Engineered Woods. Been with the company about 14 and a half years, and happy to be here with you guys.
So in other words, if you see Chris handing out business cards, stick your hand out and get one because they have a cell phone number on them.
Chris is the guy you call, like, hey, I got this crazy idea. I wonder if it'll work. I'll call Chris and find out.
And I'm Jake Bruton. I'm a builder in Columbia, Missouri, and Kansas City, Missouri. My company's name is Arrow Building. And the three of us are the podcast. If you don't normally listen, Chris is our host today for being in the booth and being charged with answering all things Huber questions. But I thought that because this is day one, first thing in the morning at IBS, the thing that I want to talk about most is what are you looking forward to this show? Why are you here? What's the thing that you're going to see while you're here that you're looking forward to? Somebody want to go first?
I'll go first, Jake, because you're looking right at me. So I do a lot of product testing, trying to do stuff like that's actually happening in the field. And I have a couple of projects where I'm having trouble with window weep systems. So I'm going to be doing some research on how windows get rid of water.
So in other words, if you have Peter's cell phone, if you have his number, every time you see a window that has weeps in it today, you text him a picture of that window with weeps because he's trying to gain better understanding of why we're failing on that part of our industry.
The cell phone is the
yes, the mobile eye telephone, as you call it. Steve, do you want to? What are you looking forward to this week?
What am I looking forward to this year? Actually, there's a bunch of companies have reached out with some new products. I definitely want to go check out and see how we can incorporate those in. But the most important thing for me about the show is getting to meet a lot of people that we have. You know, we have relationships on social media. People text me all the time, message me and say, hey, I got a question and stuff. And I've asked them if they go to IBS. They say, yeah. I said, well, make sure you come up and introduce yourself. So I get to meet them. We probably met half a dozen builders already this morning.
Or even people that you end up working with remotely or digitally that you never see. I see Fred Malik turning and walking. I haven't met Fred in person before, but we've spoken multiple times on the computer. So that sort of thing happens here. That's a huge one for me every year, getting to see people that I only see at things like this, even if it's Chris.
We have like 3 or 4 clients that came out to the show that want to walk around and see some stuff. And see it firsthand. So
Okay, we're going to pretend as if nobody is listening to this. Nobody can hear this. When a client tells you that they're coming here, do you go, oh, am I going to have to walk around with those people?
no, I say, oh, that's great. I'm just understand I'm really, really busy out there. I might maybe squeeze an hour in on Tuesday afternoon.
Well, just to place a little context, the first time I met you was here at IBS, and I think that you conceived of Unbuilt Podcast one of the years you came to IBS.
I think that might be accurate, yeah. I remember when I met you, you were standing next to Mike Curtin. I was like, who's that guy standing next to Mike Curtin?
And well, why is he here?
Yeah, why is this guy
I remember Peter asking me, like, why did you bring that guy?
I could see that.
Can we start off by asking Chris how he got into the...
Wait, I want to say what I'm excited about.
Oh, sorry.
I'm excited about stumbling upon something I didn't know existed. I feel like every time I come to IBS, I walk past a booth and I go, wait, hold on. And I turn and go back.
Zip sheathing.
Yeah. It's surprising the number of products that, especially in my central Missouri market, just don't exist for our dealers. But it's surprising the number that you don't catch if you don't come to something like this. Be it that, the vacuum system for doing dirty laundry, like that kind of stuff. You're not going to see a display of that at your local home show, most likely, unless you're in Boston or Austin, Texas or something, So this is an opportunity for me to discover things that I didn't know existed. And then we were going to let Chris tell us how he wound up here.
Yeah, because one of the reasons that the three of us
It's called Short Straw, by the way.
Okay, that's the third
Fair,
time
very
we've
fair.
gotten off. Got your quota. One of the reasons we like working with Huber is the tech team. Because there are companies that rise to shine, or those invest their resources in product development and research. So, with that, Chris, tell us how you got the honor of being part of the R&D team for you.
Definitely an honor to be a part of the R&D team at Huber, and an honor to be here with you all. I understand I'm in the presence of greatness with the podcast being in the top 5% of all globally. So congratulations on that for sure. I would say how I got to be a part of research and development. This is the first real job I've ever had. I spent 8.5 years in the Army after college, and had to find a real job. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your service. I
He
appreciate it.
does know that Jake hates the military.
Jake does hate the military
Not how that
and Top Gun.
I'm no longer
Steve
a
thinks
fan.
those are one and the same. Just if you don't like Top Gun, he thinks you don't like the military. That's how much he likes Top Gun.
So I came on with Huber, I think, really because I realized how much of a family-oriented company it was, a family-oriented atmosphere, a very heavy on teamwork. Yes, family-owned, 6th generation now. But even, in a production facility, just like it felt like the camaraderie that I had when I was in the military, and it felt like home to me. So I did that for a few years and was lucky enough to land a job in research and development supporting our Advantech flooring product line. Did that for about 6 years and felt the same camaraderie that we have in our mills, in our research and development team, and quite honestly throughout the business. From the top down, it's just a tip-top organization that really cares about their employees, our customers, and want to make sure we do right by them. For sure.
So you came up through the ranks. You worked in operations first, and then went into R&D.
Yes, sir.
And that's one of the things I like about a large part of the Huber development team is they spend time in the manufacturing part of the business, which is it makes your research much more grounded in the actual problems that builders face.
Yeah, there's multiple parts of your team that came from the mill, came from the production side that now work in your
I
department.
think it gives you a good breadth of experiences, different perspectives, and it's a good balance of kind of a cross-functional and just really, we're all creatures of where we've been and the things that we've experienced. And I think the broad experiences that we have across whether it's operations, research and development, sales and marketing, really it helps us succeed for sure.
And it's almost like your sales and marketing team is also in the education business. And I always equate you guys to some other manufacturers like Schluter, where it's like if I educate you on the right way to use my product, we're making a product that's going to work if you install it the way we tell you to. It's as simple as we know the investment there. Like, you guys are our sponsor. You asked us to be in the booth and do a podcast. We like working with the products that you have. We use them. But the ability to access the information to understand what you're doing, how to install it, the support if I have a question, those sort of things, they make it easier for us to be here. And I think that shows on the R&D side too, because you guys understand that we're going to have to actually install it. It's not just does it work, it's can it work for,
And every application can be different. There are, small subtleties that can change from home to home or project to project. And we definitely pride ourselves on being available and ready to answer. If we can't get you an answer on the phone, we'll get an answer and get back to you as soon as humanly possible. And I think that's something that we as an organization really pride ourselves on. We want our customers, our partners that we work with to know and trust that we're going to figure it out for them.
So I want to talk about like the three newest things in your guys' booth. And maybe I'm wrong that they're not the three newest, but the three newest from my perception. One is the white panel, the Exacore panel. Two is the peel and stick membrane that I believe was in the booth last year too. So was Exacore, but they're still the newest.
Right.
And then we can roll into number three that we were just holding and touching in a second. So walk us through just the 30 seconds on what Exacore is and the peel and stick membrane too.
Sure. Exacore is it's a magnesium oxide based structural panel. I think that probably the biggest play we see with it right now is a 1/2-inch flooring underlayment that would compete with your wet laid gypsums and a lot of your multifamily construction projects.
So it's a sound attenuation product in that install.
It would use as a sound attenuation product that performs very well acoustically. Anybody knows, an acoustical assembly is exactly that. It's not just one product that makes it. It's a conglomeration of all things as a part of it. But the Exacore underlayment does a great job of, especially with your IIC values, really, really solid performing product there. And then with the roofing underlayment, we're always big on performance and guarantees and warranties, et cetera. And, if there's anything we want to do is ensure that, the homes that we build are more resilient, can stand up to Mother Nature. And I think this peel and stick roofing underlayment is just another kind of belt and suspenders approach that we can have. It gives you that zip roof leak-free guarantee as well.
And it was kind of
a quick elevator pitch, I think.
It was kind of my understanding that the underlayment too, that kind of came out of some marketplace demand. Like people were asking, do you guys make one of these? Do you make one of these? We would like to put this underneath this. And it's like you guys kind of listened and we're like, yeah, okay, we'll figure that out.
Sure. I think we as I said, we pride ourselves on our technical service, but we also pride ourselves on being in constant contact with our customers. And we want to have that open line of communication and always knowing what unmet needs they might have and how we as an organization can better meet those. And I think, that's a product of it, for sure.
So I think what's kind of cool is that Huber is one of the few companies that understands that if you make a system of products and you warranty them all as a package, what a great marketing plan. Like, hey, if you use all these systems and integrate them like we have as manufacturers, then that's the way that you get the highest performance. So it's kind of neat that the technical solution is also a marketing solution. Now, if you do that and you don't do the technical research, you're going to end up way out on a limb. And I just wanted to say that I think even before Homebuilding Crossroads, which Steve was the originator of with Huber, was doing my wing nut testing on pressure-sensitive adhesive tapes, where you guys were the first to say, hey, the lab tests don't give us the full story. And when we came to you and thought we were going to hear from you as lawyers, we didn't. We heard from the R&D group about, hey, yeah, you should be doing this kind of thing.
Steve, do you want to?
Oh, I was just going to make a suggestion for the booth. I think on the hour, you guys should have the front end loader doing a drop of water on that.
We'll work that way.
Do you want to walk us through the third product that you and Peter and I were standing over there playing with?
Yeah, so I don't want to take any wind out of well, I do want to take a wind out of their sales, so I shouldn't say that. New rain screen product, right?
Yes,
Coming
sir.
through, and we're actually going to be putting it on one of our projects here really soon. And I'm with Peter. I think companies that are willing to take the responsibility of the assembly rather than a component is a great direction to be moving. Because you get to control a lot more. Like, you get to make your wall even more successful if you give a reason to be more successful, like a rain screen system product or a membrane product. So, thinking of what are those next components, next pieces to the assembly that we can bring under our umbrella just makes us trust your products that much more.
Sure, and I think from a builder's perspective, the more products you're buying from one supplier or one company, it's one less neck for you to choke, right? You rely on that company, that organization to help you be successful.
It's definitely a headache reducer because if we're using your zip sheathing and then we put somebody else's membrane on there, every time we talk to somebody, it's never going to be their fault.
Yeah.
But now that you guys have taken responsibility, now you just got to get some metal roofing, some shingles, and some roof truss manufacturing, and then you guys will give us all the answers.
We'll put that on the list.
And if you look at their
You
family,
mean you can't just leave it like that? Because in New England, I'd say 50%.
Whoa. Don't say New England. In Vermont, that's considered a finished roof for at least about 6 years.
well, you guys, when you were in Columbia, Steve and I are about to start a house.
No, in Columbia, they put a blue tarp over.
Yeah, they do. We're about to start a house that is next to a house that was built in 2012 that never got siding on the eastern face, and it's 36 or 37 feet tall, and it just has the green board and tape on it. And I've been inside, and there's no water damage
I
inside.
remember we went to that project together. That was awesome.
So maybe in my market, it's the finished cladding. So I think the interesting thing from a family of products standpoint with the rain screen, I think it's great because why not relieve the pressure off of the wall where, that solves lots of problems like we were just talking about. However, I think the interesting thing is it's the only product that you guys are making that promotes drying if installed properly. Everything else kind of manages for water, but not after it's already wet. And I thought that was it's a different family of products all of a sudden.
Well, I think you do have some enhanced drainage with the face of the zip with the dimple imprint, but this definitely does promote more drying efficiency. And I think that's, if there's one thing we want to focus our efforts on is resiliency of the home. And I think this is just, you have the peel and stick underlayment for the roof. I think this helps to help with the drainage efficiency and the drying for the wall cladding system.
So how soon will builders be able to get a hold of the new reveal system?
As of right now, we think springtime it should be available. I think
This year?
Yes.
Okay.
Was that a shot?
I know you're in technical and not marketing, but it
Shots
could have been
fired.
spring at any point. Okay.
That felt like it was shot across the bow there, Jake.
I got your back, go on.
Thank you, sir.
Those two guys try and beat up on me all the time.
I count on the Marines, that's right.
I told Chris I was going to be gentle.
They never do.
So I think spring of this year, and the target is any place where you can buy zip, we should be able to purchase the rain screen material.
Okay. So I thought it would be amusing if I sprung a question on you guys. I want to know your favorite IBS experience over the years. You want to go
really
first?
want that?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Non-vulgar. It is on the podcast. Don't be vulgar.
My first year at IBS was 1993.
I was 10.
Yeah.
I was maybe forget my story.
Rose.
We went for a drive out to Red Rocks. We came back to the casino. There was only one parking spot left we could find. And as we were trying to pull in, this guy came in the Cadillac and got right in front of us. And I was angry, so I went up to him after he parked, and I said, "You could see we were waiting for that parking spot." And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "You're going to lose your shirt tonight." I'm going to tell you, it took 3 guys to hold him back from coming after me. But he got the parking spot, but I spoiled his gambling. My favorite story.
Peter's in it for the long game.
Wow.
He wants to make sure he's ruining lives, not just parking spots.
Don't take my parking spot.
I like the fact that that was what you went to as your favorite IBS memory, too. Screw that guy. I hope he lost. What about you, Steve?
Me, I remember being in the bathroom and Norm Abrams came up and stood next to me. So, I remember walking out there, texting my wife, and I was Norm Abrams.
Okay. Now,
Yeah, there you
whatever
go.
story you had, that rise to the occasion.
He actually said hello, too.
I think my favorite was right after Steve and I became friends. He was like, "Are you going to the Builders Show?" And I was like, "I don't know what that is." He was like, "Yeah, the International Builders Show." I was like, "Steve, I don't know what that is." And he was like, "IBS." And I was like, "All you're doing is saying the same words. You have to choose more words to make me understand." And then
You thought it was irritable bowel syndrome?
and so I was confused. I was like, "Oh, is it in Boston? What is it?" And then he sent me a link so that I could do my own research. And I decided to go like last minute. And like the first morning I was walking in here, my phone rang and Steve's like, "Where are you?" And I was like, he knew I was coming, and he was nice enough to invite me to tag along the first day. And it was way less intimidating. So that
You
would
realize
be,
that's how hard it is for him to get friends.
yes, it is.
And I didn't have hard to tell. That's what Mike Burton also said. Why
Who
don't
is
you
this
bring
guy?
this guy? Who is this guy?
He's got paying clients. That's why I was with him. But I think that that's like the beautiful thing here is the like we were talking about earlier, the community that is here. If you choose to participate, if you came here by yourself today, find somebody to walk around with. Find somebody to point at stuff in a booth and go, "That's stupid. Why would you do that?" So that they can go, "Oh no, that's great. You should do it that way."
So you got to beat all that.
No, I
don't think I can beat
walk
that.
down the aisle, look up and go, "Oh my God," and just see how many people will stop and stare up at the roof. Looking. I want to piggyback on yours because I'll mention my stuff. Last year was probably my favorite year at IBS. I love all you guys, but last year I got to introduce my daughter, who works with me, to my world.
Who didn't bother to stay and watch us?
No, she's here somewhere. She's hiding because she won't show her face. But as a dad and having my daughter follow in my footsteps as an architect and working with me, it was like the greatest joy to say, this is the world I live in and get to share it with you.
Well, and you get to come here and people want to say, "Hi, Steve Basic," and then you get to do that in front of your kids. That's kind of cool, too.
It is kinda cool.
Makes you feel like a superhero sometimes. Chris, do you have a favorite IBS memory that doesn't involve bathrooms or ruining people's gambling?
And you can't use the fact that you're up here with us.
That was it. You know, I don't know that I would have one in particular. I think being here, especially now after the last, couple 3 years where things have been pretty tough and you've not been able to be around people. There are a lot of familiar faces you get to see again, whether it's inside of Huber or customers or partners that we've worked with in the past. I think that just being able to continue to build upon those relationships and be together again, I think is meaningful to me, and I really enjoy that.
It's fairly poetic, actually. After all the Norm Abrams bathroom talk that started that off.
Hey, it's Mr. Yankee Workshop, yeah?
Okay, so if you are listening to this, IBS has come and gone, so the next little section of advice is not going to apply to you until you decide to come next year. Huber's booth has stuff going on all day, all 3 days. There's people that you might know stopping in and talking. There's Family Feud with the Euler brothers. There's building science trivia tomorrow,
I
which
think
is...
I can take them. Oh, it's not that kind of feud.
You can take both of them at the same time.
You do understand
Easel
that?
exercise.
You do understand I wrote the building science trivia quiz questions.
Then you give it
Just
to Jake
make
and
sure
Christina. I can. That's right.
Steve's a little sore because he lost at building science trivia last year.
I recall.
I remember it.
I let
It was
you
quite nice. I still look at the pictures from it every
I
day.
let you in.
It's my motivation.
My wife said, make sure that you feel good about yourself.
We're going to do another podcast here Thursday, kind of wrapping up the show first thing, 9 a.m. We'll be the first ones going. Come and say hi again. Don't hesitate to say hello to people if you see them. Everybody that you know from online is just a person, and they will probably stop and talk to you, whether it's Mark Willie or if it's, I see Sean Santa Moore standing out there. I saw Ben Morton walk by a minute ago. Say hi to these people. They're just people, and they like talking about building too. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. If you are listening to the podcast, subscribe, do all the stuff, follow us on YouTube. I just want to say thanks to Hubert for having us up here today, and thanks for Chris for dealing with. We need somebody to talk with us. And
Thank you for having me. We definitely appreciate you guys being here with us for sure.
final words, Pete.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Okay, thank you guys for standing here and hanging out with us. We'll see you Thursday morning.